So a new phenomenon in recent years is New England IPA, and I have a few thoughts on the matter. Let's put it that way. Again, as a traditional brewer, I've learned over the years to restrain myself to create using traditional models of what a customer might accept. Levels of hop aroma, hop bitterness, and presentation in the beer. Well, flying in the face of all of that is a style called New England IPA. It could be called Vermont IPA, and at some point in the past it has been, but it's spread beyond the locale of our fair state and out into our region and across the nation and across the world. Had a visitor recently who claimed that they found a New England IPA brewed by a brewery in Poland. So there are breweries around the world that are embracing this style of brewing and are looking at producing beers that resemble it. Now, back into the history of this, someone who's credited with brewing the first one would be John Kimmick at The Alchemist, and with perhaps Sean Lawson at Lawson's Finest Liquids, and Hills Farmstead also participating in putting Vermont beers on the map with a particular style of fruity, aromatic, heavily hopped, and hazy beer. What those guys were doing in the early days, though, was making an IPA, but trying to create a tremendous amount of additional hop flavor, cramming as much hop flavor and character into the beer as they possibly could. What that leads to, however, is cloudiness and haze. You put that much hop character into a beer, it's going to be cloudy. And what then happens is I've had many discussions with brewers who are making these traditional styles that you can make a beer taste very hoppy and clear, and they will say, well, you can't make it taste as hoppy as I want it to be and clear, and which is fine. So now we're left with beers that are going to have this level of haze. Part of it is going to be a physical manifestation of the hop additions, hop haze as they call it, the oils that become insoluble and cloudy in solution, the protein and the tannins that get added through the sheer volume of hop material that create haze. And then also the brewer's fear of removing flavor by filtration or yeast removal and leaving therefore a substantial amount of yeast behind in the product, which is going to hold on to that hop character and hop flavor a little longer. So there are brewers that have then taken that and have morphed it into something different. So what New England IPA means to me now is a beer that is way milder than any of the IPAs historically were. It's a lot less bitter. They've taken the idea of adding hop aroma without necessarily and hop flavor without necessarily adding the accompanying bitterness. And so brewers have developed another style of New England IPA, which is far less bitter. They've also started looking into enhancing the cloudiness on purpose, adding agents that make the beer even hazier, and adding agents that not just change the crisp flavor of the beer, but also add a ton of mouthfeel. So there are ingredients like wheat and oats and raw barley that brewers have known about for a long, long time that have been added historically to beers for a specific purpose of increasing mouthfeel and body in certain beers that might otherwise be very light. Now these are being added in large amounts to increase the mouthfeel of beers to become very substantial. So with very low bitterness, very low bitterness, similar hop aroma characteristics as the precursors of this intensely hoppy style, and now lots and lots and lots of body and mouthfeel. These beers are a whole new, unique style. Added to that, the idea of adding some kind of sweetness to it in the form of lactose, unfermentable sugar. And now you're having beers that are tasting like desserts, that look like desserts, and that have the body and mouthfeel almost of an entire meal. So a whole new style of beer that's come out of traditional styles, and young new brewers' willingness to push the envelope and experiment with new hops and challenge what has gone before.